being interviewed, I should say, on Sportsnet. As of course, earlier this week, Alex Morello told his team staff that he has no plans to pursue further arena options, which means there is no chance for the Coyotes under his ownership. Rick Horrow, the sports professor, joins us, and someone who's been involved in this business for many, many years, part of a lot of expansions, knows Gary Bettman personally. Rick, what will it take, and what does your crystal ball tell you in regards of the future of the NHL in the Valley of the Sun here in Phoenix?
Well, I think part of it is kind of to push the reset button, take a deep breath. I know people don't want to hear that, but I don't think anybody around the NHL right now wants to talk Valley of the Sun. And so, that doesn't mean it's not a viable market over time. And it certainly doesn't mean that Gary Bettman wouldn't ultimately support something. You didn't, it's easy to say this, but people shouldn't have underestimated how Gary Bettman had fought for the market. And, sometimes it's a win, sometimes it's not. Maybe he feels the same way about Atlanta, although that's not as recent. And there may be some opportunities down the road. But remember not too long ago when he negotiated the option and the deal and what, Marullo's standing would be, and a kind of almost an automatic expansion opportunity if an arena gets done. And he'll continue to return to the arena opportunity. But I think it's almost one of those things where if Seattle had built the arena primarily for basketball, when Oklahoma City Thunder moved from Seattle as the Sonics, David Stern had carved out the same kind of thing. So, who knows what's going to happen with the arena process, but I think it's almost a reset button opportunity.
Arena aside, Rick, now that the exclusive rights have melted away since Morello's gone, does the league have to approve? Let's say 2 or 3 guys want to step up and they want to get the rights. Do they have to be approved by the governing board, by Bettman and his staff? If somebody comes in, let's say in a year, says, we want to build a stadium, we want to go get those rights. What's the process moving forward if somebody is interested in having an expansion team here in Phoenix?
Well, it's almost like starting over in every material way. There's no guarantee now, except we all understand that an arena is the key to the process.
Right.
So, having the NHL ordain the group as the group is almost the cart before the horse. I think it has to be part of a process that brings a real arena to the NHL, and I think the NHL deal becomes pretty easy if the Phoenix market continues to survive and thrive. If the ownership group looks like it's a real ownership group, and the ownership group brings with it the arena opportunity. I'm not sure that going to the NHL as the ownership group and saying, let's get the arena done and you designate us right now, that doesn't work. It's the arena has to come almost first.
Okay, so will there be a franchise fee of, I don't know, what is it, $1 billion that will have to be stepped up as well, too, as well as them building an arena?
Well, it can't come out of whole cloth. And so what Marullo does is he, takes that franchise such that the deal almost, again, like I said, press the reset button. There's no automatic franchise given to somebody without a fee, because the rest of the Board of Governors expects Phoenix to operate as another normal expansion city. And I think, like it or not, the head start is now in Salt Lake, and Phoenix Valley of the Sun expansion candidate almost has to start over with Houston and Charlotte and Kansas City and all of those other cities. The only thing I think that is the advantage is that it's a great population market, and Gary Bettman knows it. So, those are advantages, but believe me, that doesn't mean you're going to have a franchise anytime anytime soon, let's say.
All right, so you're saying 5 years, 8 years? Do you have a prediction on how long it would be, roughly?
I think it will be as long as, you measure it in light years, like the next time I will be able to have a parking pass for a game anywhere in Phoenix. It's a long time. It's measured in dog years. I don't know. 5 was the number the NHL had originally when the Murillo deal, I remember, went down, and now it's. I think one of the advantages, however, is that there's the city certainly would be a front runner when the financing for an arena is approved, and then how long within that building period does a franchise come, and does it come in an existing arena for a couple of years before the new one is completed? That would be an issue, whether it's 5 years, 4 years, 6 years. But, the first thing that has to happen is someone's got to step up and say, we lost it. We got to try again. And we understand that the only way we could get it done is with a new arena.
He's Rick Horrow, the sports professor here on Fox Sports 910. Rick, this isn't a great source, but somebody was in my ear in the last couple of days and said that, one of the reasons why Gary Bettman fought so hard for this city, outside of how big the city is, top 5-6 market, was the fact that when they have their break, the NHL break, the players specifically, the Canadians, and they love to come to Phoenix. They would take that week off. And this part of it, which was kind of ironic, that any players that have had issues, they would send them to Phoenix because of the rehab facilities that we have here in our city. I thought that was interesting to hear that, too. And it's true. You look at some of the players that have been dumped here in Phoenix, and some of them have had some issues, and that partially could be true. But you wonder, all these people in people's ears now, kind of throwing out all this negativity about Phoenix. And it's just unfortunate now, especially now it's completely gone.
I think the negativity relates to the arena process and the cities that have stepped up and built and then didn't get it done as far as the financing was concerned. I think very little positive or negative has to do with where players live during the winter, or where players live permanently, or whether the rehab facilities are great. Of course they are. But that would happen, frankly, whether an expansion franchise comes to Phoenix or not.
So I'm just your personal opinion on this. All right. So we being the Phoenix Coyotes, now Arizona Coyotes, we're Winnipeg Jets. That's who we were. Atlanta Thrashers went to Winnipeg. When it comes to the history of the Winnipeg Jets to the Phoenix Arizona Coyotes, does that go to now Utah, or is Utah start from scratch and it goes back to Winnipeg?
Well, that's all back and forth. It usually goes with the franchise.
Yeah.
When I was dealing with the NFL in my stadium situations, and the Browns left for Baltimore and became the Ravens, the fans were so adamant about getting a new deal, and they got a new stadium done quickly. And the expansion process happened, and Art Modell was allowed to move, and he moved anyway. But the record book and the franchise records stayed, and so you have the old Cleveland Browns, and the records stayed in Cleveland. It's a case-by-case negotiated deal. Most times, the records move with the team. Some cases, in markets who responded really quickly, the records stay.
So, Rick, my last question for you: how about somebody comes in and just secures a quick lease somewhere with the promise of building a stadium moving forward?
So there we go again.
Are we going backwards on that, or is it going to be demanding that they have the stadium moving forward? I mean, if you got someone else to come in and go sign a 10-year at Gila River or Footprint or whatever with the promise, does that work, or will they throw water all over that?
They won't throw water all over it, but the financing plan has to be real.
Yeah.
And it has to be committed. And the money has to be there, has to be in the bank, has to be provable. And that's whoever it is has to come in with the fee that Gary Bettman accepts. And now the fee is measured not against any other deal, but it's measured against what the next expansion process looks like. So, if it says anything to the people in Arizona, it's you got to make sure the arena deal happens.
Sure.
And you got a fighter in Gary Bettman, but he's got to have the ammunition to fight with.
Rick, got 30 seconds, so we'll give you 30 seconds to say you're a huge Florida Panther fans now. Right?
Well, listen, I was 30 years ago when Gary Bettman was part of that process when we got that Miami arena done, and it was a Heat arena. But then Wayne Huizinga stepped into that, and I was part of all that, which was great. And then the Rats were a history. Scott Mellenby killed a rat, and all of a sudden the team was fine, but got blown out in the finals. And now we watched them for 2 years in a row, plus winning the Stanley Cup. And it was really exciting to see that fan base unbelievably blow up. And it's a lesson to South cities and Sunbelt areas where you get the arena done, you build the history, you take advantage of the transplants who remember hockey, and you build on it. And so this was a success, long time in coming, and deserved.
Rick, thank you as always, buddy. Have a good week.
You too, man. Talk to you soon.
Rick Horrow, sports professor. RickHorrow.com. Rick Horrow all over on social media. Coming up, football at 50, the latest with Dak Prescott, 6